Well, I'm still reeling from yesterday's fantastic close encounter in Chennai. But yeah, it's yet another Saturday, yet another doubleheader. Time to talk about two very, 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 very good games. We've got Nikhil Bhai, of course. We've also got Gurkirat. How are we doing, gents? Are you over Pakistan's loss yesterday? Gurkirat, you can probably take this.
Yeah, I mean, I am I'm more surprised. Actually, not surprised. I expected this. That rather than the talk of yesterday being a good game, the talk is about how we need to do away with umpire's call and everything and etc. And there's hardly any good argument that I have read so far. Uh, I just feel like those who say that umpire's call should not exist really don't understand that the rule of LBW itself is a subjective one. The rule itself says that a batter is out if the umpire deems the ball to be hitting the stumps. It is not actually hitting the stumps. It is what the umpire thinks what might happen. And there is no one who can, with absolute 100% certainty, say ki every ball will probably hit the stumps or not hit the stumps, especially which are marginal calls. I'm not talking about the ones which are hitting the middle stump or the middle of the leg stump or middle of the off stump. But yeah, it is something. This is why I don't have a lot of hopes when there are ex cricketers in broadcasting, because if you've played the sport for so long and if you're commentating on it but you just can't explain the basic rule of LBW and the umpire's call, I don't think you deserve to be in the commentary box or in the broadcasting. But unfortunately, that's now how the things are. So yeah.
All right, Nikhil Bhai, what about you? Early morning start, happy with the 10 a.m. start or rather 10:30 a.m. start?
Yeah. I think Paji already taken the first power play, so I'll just wait for the middle overs.
Fair enough. All right. Ganesh, meanwhile, with the first comment of the day, he says, waiting for Nikhil's fantasy predictions. He's good at what he does. Hi, of course, there's a reason why he's called an expert. But yeah, thank you so much, Ganesh. Yeah.
Astrology की दुकान बंद हो जाएगी.
But yeah, let's cut to the chase. We all know Australia and New Zealand, the Trans-Tasman rivalry, as it's called, has not really. I mean, if you look at the scoreline, 8-3 in Australia's favour, it has been fairly one-sided. But given how New Zealand's current form has been and the way they have been bowling, the way they have been batting in particular, I mean, there's every reason for us to believe that this would be a very close encounter. Talking about Australia, we saw them sort of start on a very, very, very bad note. Of course, it didn't help that they had a couple of their most difficult fixtures right up top. But in the last few games, they seem to have found their mojo. They seem to have found their momentum. This graphic sort of clearly depicts that. If you look at how their batters have fared, in the first two games, they had an average of less than 20. They had a run rate of less than 4. Cut to the last three games, a run rate of 7, an average in excess of 40. They've scored 450 plus scores. They've got 4 centuries as well to add to that. Fantastic performances from them. It also helps that they played on a couple of extremely batting friendly venues, batter friendly venues, so to say. Nikhil Bhai, what are you looking forward to today?
Another streak getting broken. We've seen quite a few getting changed. Yesterday saw one changed, and 8-0 it is in India, I think, for Australia and New Zealand. No better day than today. No better venue than Dharamsala. And again, I feel today could just again. I've been asking for this since a long time, but finally the day is here where you get a subpar 200 versus 200 wala game, and both teams are capable enough to produce that, and both teams have better bowling units, if you want to call it that way. The batters haven't always clicked. Yes, Warner is wearing his own Lux cozy, which is very, very strong right now. Somebody gets out on no ball. Somebody takes a catch. He himself is the umpire, which is not new for an Australian to be the umpire also. Okay, नहीं out नहीं grass किया है तो with Warner that always seems to happen कि Bales भी उसकी बात सुनते हैं. So today could just be the day where all of this probably nullifies versus New Zealand, because New Zealand will want to win this one. Because Australia start heavy favorites in terms of history and all of that. But Marsh has given them a few rough chances. Warner's had luck. Smith had one good knock. And with Marnus going out and Head coming back, Maxwell's worst numbers are against New Zealand after South Africa. That is so. No better day for New Zealand to really control that batting unit. It won't be easy for them also to bat. But yeah, today could just be the day of which bowling side fares better.
I mean, both the captains are out in the middle as we speak for the toss. Hey, Gurkirat, is it a foregone conclusion that Head would be, I mean, Labuschagne would be making way for Head, or do you see it playing any other way?
I don't know. It all depends upon what they think about the bowling of Green, or what's the status of Stoinis' fitness, because they did bowl Marsh in the last game. He got a couple of wickets, so I think it will depend upon that. That what do they feel about their bowling overall. So if Head comes in, depending upon that, I think they'll make that change. But what you also can't deny is that if Marsh is batting three, Smith is batting four, then five becomes a spot too low for Marnus. Then you are probably then you will probably not be able to use Marnus if you get a good start. So that is a player wasted there. So yeah, let's see. I mean, if Stoinis is fit, I think he could come in, and Marnus and Green both could go out. When New Zealand have won the toss and elected to field.
Both.
Exactly, yeah. But we were talking about Australia's batting. There's one batter, particularly in the opposition's rank, who's been sort of, raking up the numbers. I know we're not talking about their highest run score in the World Cup, Rachin Ravindra. There's a certain 32-year-old Daryl Mitchell, who, despite his late debut, and Nikhil Bhai for one, really, really likes what he's done in the last couple of years. I remember what he had to say in the previous game. If I'm not wrong, it was the India New Zealand fixture, where in the review you were talking about how, despite having his deficiencies, he's been able to overcome them. He's been able to work on them, and he's been able to come up with a style of play where he can score those runs despite that. And again, these numbers sort of just show that. If you look at how he begins his innings, how he paces his innings, Nikhil bhai, you can walk us through this in terms of what you like so much about Daryl Mitchell.
So you can probably sum it up in way that he's one of your classic ODI batters, where you look at that striker. It is probably how we've all been very used to this kind of innings building, where sometimes it's slowest to start and it just keeps picking up, as as quickly as it can, depending on the opposition. So I think that is just hallmark of something that he's got the ODI game right. Yes, it doesn't always come off, but that's it with every player. I think so far, what I've liked the most is he's rarely given early chances. Now, which is something you sometimes feel that okay, it is good that he's not giving early chances, because then he has the best chance of converting a start. Because we've seen that with Nisanka as well, that he's gotten 450s now in a row. But you ideally want, again, it's not about the century, it's about getting your team into a position of real strength from where they can dominate, as opposed to leaving the door just bit open for them to come in. So that's where I feel Darren Mitchell has been good so far. May he continue to do that today because they are chasing. So there will be some early movement we saw in the Bangladesh England game. It is the same strip as well. So if there is some movement and if there are a few early wickets, it'll again come down to Darren Mitchell taking them through to the finish line.
Fair enough. We've already seen the toss play out. New Zealand have won the toss. They've opted to field first. Gurkirat, what do you make of the toss? Like, is this one of those happy to lose this toss situation, or do you think toss will play a major role today, given that it is a day game?
Yay! Finally.
चलो a streak is broken. काफी दिनों की consistency आज टूट गई,
uh,
which could mean that even Warner doesn't score 100 today. Let's see.
yeah.
But yeah, see, difficult to say because we've not had swing in this World Cup, and we have not had swing at Dharamsala. So, and I
Sorry,
think we have some numbers.
sorry to correct you there. Uh, in comparison to other venues, the most swing in first 10 overs is at Dharamshala. I found that very surprising because I haven't seen it myself, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I just read it.
yeah, yeah. I don't know how
Yeah,
how that's coming along, because it's really not swung much. I think
yeah.
the two places where I've seen some swing happen, one is Delhi in the evening, the other is Lucknow in the evening, and
Mm.
that's probably about it. So I think we have a few numbers about Trent, Boult, and Stark not being as good as what they were in 2015 and 2019, and I think the last bit is about 2023. But yeah, so these numbers tell you how both the bowlers have struggled to find swing, and this is something that we have spoken even in context of Shaheen. We have spoken of that in context of Siraj as well. So I'm not sure what would have been ideal thing to do after you've won the toss, because it's a day game. There's not going to be any dew. So probably could be a good toss to lose. I wouldn't have minded batting first either, because if the pitch is dry and if it's the same pitch that was used for England Bangladesh, because we saw that in that pitch there was some turn, there was some grip. It's just that Bangladesh bowlers that day were bowling too fast and were bowling too short, wherein they were getting cut both in front of square and behind square, the spinners. So may not be a bad toss to lose. And yeah, who knows, if Australia get to a decent start, then they could get into a position of posting an above par total, from where New Zealand could come under pressure.
Fair enough. Nikhil bhai, do you concur with
I,
that? Like,
I don't think New Zealand, barring the first game, I don't think New Zealand have chased, or have they?
yeah,
No, they chased against Bangladesh.
Yeah,
Kane
yeah,
Williamson wala knock. Yeah.
yeah.
oh, so yeah, 100 ball 70. Correct. My bad. Where you got? Yeah.
Mm.
But Nikhil bhai, in terms of what Gurkirat had to say, do you concur that toss probably not playing that big a role? I know you did mention that the first 10 overs, I mean, Dharamsala has seen the most swing in the first 10 overs of all venues in this World Cup. But at least that's not sort of to the naked eye, that's not been the case. What do you think?
Yeah.
Like toss का उतना बड़ा role नहीं होगा फिर?
See, I think when you have two top sides playing, most often it doesn't play as much a role in the situation that in the venue that there is today. Now, had this been a game that was starting at 2, I would have probably said that okay, while bowling second, maybe the the temperatures will definitely go down further, so it may do a bit more for a longer duration of time as compared to while bowling first. And we saw how well Reece Topley bowled in the second innings to Bangladesh batters. So I think it should remain the same at least कि 10-10 over दोनों inning में you see some movement, and then it should remain good to bat. So yeah, I think at this venue in a day game, I don't think it should make a lot of difference.
Yeah, just to add on to a bit, uh, yeah, okay, that stat is about the swing in first 10 overs, or
First
is it
innings.
swing overall? Yeah,
No,
if
no,
it
only
was swing
first. Yeah.
overall, you could have still understood, because there was some reverse, because the ball's going softer and the outfield's not the best, so the ball could get scruff up. But yeah, first 10 overs, most swing at Dharamshala is something difficult to believe from what you've seen.
Mm.
Maybe it's something that we have missed, or maybe the ball tracking is acting up once again. I don't know, because it's something that has not been visible to the naked eye. It's genuinely
So
not been.
let's call this. This is also umpire's call.
Fair enough. All right. Meanwhile, Gigi says, "Hi guys, watching you guys while working. Why are you working on a Saturday morning, Gigi? That's yeah. I mean,
हम भी काम
that's
कर रहे हैं.
so much. हम भी काम करें, लेकिन अपना काम फिर भी. I mean, ठीक है. Let's not get into that. But thank you so much, Gigi. But yeah, a change for both sides. Mark Chapman misses out due to a calf niggle. Jimmy Neesham plays his first game of this World Cup, if I'm not wrong. And
Second.
Manas Labuschagne, sorry, not
Second.
Played the
Manas.
first one. He played the first one.
Oh yeah, Williamson wasn't there. All right. Now, in this case, I mean, in Australia's case, of course, Travis Head has made a comeback, but in place of Camden Green. What do you make of that? Again, Gurkirat, you did mention that it'll depend on how they read the surface and all of that. But personally, of course, Dharamshala has been a more pacer-friendly surface that way. Do you think maybe Green's bowling could have added a bit more value? Nikhil Bhai seems happy, so I don't think he agrees with what I say. So
No,
maybe Nikhil
no.
Bhai,
In the last game, I had exactly called it. Okay, this is how they can best use, Marnus and not depend on इक्का दुक्का from Green and Choinis. क्योंकि आपको runs मिल रहे हैं Marnus से, that is far more good thing. And if you have mismatch bowling, this is the venue where you can give him to bowl 3-4 overs, and you have Maxwell and Head also who can bowl here. And there is matchup का bit also कि भाई lefties भी है तो आप bowling भी करा सकते हो. So again, I just feel vindicated कि चलो good, at least something we got right in terms of combination for the team.
fair enough. Gurkirat, happy?
Yeah, it's something which which, like Nikhil said, he called could happen. And Green's really not pulled his weight apart. I think if Stoinis was fit, maybe Marnus could have gone out. What they probably see is that, okay, if there's an early collapse and say we are 3 down in the first 20 or even 25, there's still value that Marnus can bring. And I suppose the knock that he had in the last game, where he started off well and scored at more than run a ball, that also helped in terms of gaining the confidence that if needed, he can also come and accelerate. although that is too short a sample space. If Australia could get a good start, and if like how they were in a situation like Pakistan, then it is possible that Manas then once again comes into bat in number 7, number 8, but which is okay. You can't do anything about it. You still have to put the team first. So yeah, while number 5 might be a bit too low for Manas, uh, they might just get a lot more out of him than having Green at 7. And with Marsh bowling again, it just helps them. And more than the seam or swing bit, the way this pitch has behaved, the uneven bounce might be something that would have made them probably think about playing Green. But like how Marsh bowled in the last game, I think those doubts became clear. So yeah, and it's important to note that they did not start with Green. They started with Stoinis, so he was anyway not the first choice. So a lot of things went against Green in this case.
Fair enough. All right. And Nikhil Bhai, again, a lot of questions about sort of regarding where Head would play. Fair to assume again it would be Warner and Head opening and Marsh at number
Yeah,
3. Marsh also alluded to that कि भाई उसने
yeah.
request किया था Warner को, लेकिन Warner भाई साहब ने साफ साफ बोल दिया. But yeah, which reminds me कि भाई आज तो 2 matches होने वाले. We have to preview both the games. In the meantime, guys, all 25 of you, please make sure you're liking the stream if you haven't already, and make sure you've subscribed to us if you haven't already. We'll be previewing both the games in this video, so make sure you stay tuned. I mean, you stay back for the Bangladesh Netherlands game as well, which will happen later in Kolkata. But yeah, let's quickly move on to the first segment rather, which is of course X Factor. Yeah, it was an early morning start, so decided to jazz the segments up a bit. Nikhil Bhai, let's start with you. In terms of X Factor picks, who are you going ahead with today?
Bowler person, I'll go with Matt Henry first. बहुत unlucky थे पिछले गेम में. I think he bowled very very well. Didn't get the wickets to show for it, but I think Matt Henry is someone, again, while bowling first, he's hit the right areas very often. Lovely matchups versus Warner, and he could be the day where you see a side being run through by one of the opening bowlers. Well, they take 2-3 in the early time. So I think Matt Henry definitely one contender there from New Zealand. From Australia, very tempted to go with Head, but because he's batting first, it makes it that much more tricky. So I'll go back to the experience of Steve Smith. Okay, he got a good score in the last game, and for me, I personally feel that whenever he's able to, just maneuver the ball to square leg very well, he's looking in best touch, because that's when he's moving very well, and that's when he's not getting rushed or into anything. So Steve Smith from Australia and Matt Henry from New Zealand.
Fair enough. Gurkirat, which way are you headed?
He's done something that I did to him a couple of times in the preview. So yeah, reasons were similar because there hasn't been a lot of swing, like I mentioned, and Matt Henry's been accurate. Uh, has good numbers versus Warner. So, but okay, I'm tempted to go for Santner. Santner has dismissed Steven Smith a couple of times, and there are after the openers there are a lot of right-handers in that lineup, and Santner's been bowling very well in this World Cup. And if the pitch is anything like what it was in that Bangladesh England game, then he could come into the game fairly early. So and he bowled well versus India in the last game here also. So he would have known what lengths to bowl and everything. So yeah, and even though I don't think Australia and New Zealand have played a ODI at this venue, they did play a T20 game in 2016, which was also a low scoring one, 140, and New Zealand
140.
defended that, where also Santner played a good role. So Santner's one player for New Zealand that I'm going for. For Australia, it's a tough one because a lot of I actually saw the numbers for both the teams. A lot of these cricketers don't have great numbers versus
Each other.
Australia or New Zealand. Even Warner and Smith are the only ones who are averaging over 40, and Conway, Latham are averaging in the 14s. So it's a rivalry, but not as heated one. So yeah, for Australia, I feel like I don't know because I feel maybe Mitchell Marsh will come into bowl, uh, will be in the game with the ball as well. and his role. But yeah, he's batting at 3 today. He's not opening, so yeah, that's another factor to consider. Uh, okay, going for Zampa, the two spinners,
Wow.
both the spinners, because
All right.
the
Dharamsala
reason
में दो spinners. मस्त
yeah
था.
the reason why I say Zampa is because uh, Conway and Latham for New Zealand will hold the key in terms of neutralizing him. And the last 3 games he's bowled well. He's taken
Yeah.
three four fours. Probably I
Consecutive.
think becomes the third cricketer to do that in
Yeah.
World Cups.
Yeah.
And one of the important things when both these sides met in Sydney in the World T20 last year was Conway batting through, and Conway I think played some 17-18 balls of Zampa spell because he had batted through and not really allowed Zampa to attack the other end. So Zampa, I think, will hold the key to get Conway, or to come up with those breakthroughs if there isn't a lot of swing. So yeah, Santner and Zampa.
Just
Fair
to, I
enough.
just want to add one thing to Paddy. What role do you see for Rachin today? Because I think he's been someone who's had decent start, but I don't know, he had some luck as well in every game. So getting dropped and then getting a good score. But do you think today he could be a key player for New Zealand?
It today they're bowling first, so I don't. It all, I think, with the ball they probably just bowl him when they see that there's an opening or there's some pressure, so that because they feel he's someone who can be attacked by the opposition, and that has happened. He has gone for runs, so probably you know maybe he could get a wicket or two if Australia look to be too aggressive against him, especially if runs are not coming from the other end. With the bat, I think they'll probably look at him to see if the Stark effect could be neutralized somewhat. That is what I feel he'll do. But yeah, I think he'll still have the freedom that if he's played those first 20 balls to just start going for his shots, because once he starts doing that and runs coming from his end, then whosoever is at the other end, whether it's Will Young, whether
Yeah.
it's Conway, or whether it was Mitchell in the last game, it just allows those batters to take their time. So probably he will still have that. I think what New Zealand have in mind with respect to Rachin Ravindra is to sort of maybe use him as a part-time pinch hitter. I mean, not exactly bat like a pinch hitter, but make sure that runs keep coming so that the batter at the other end is not forced to take that extra risk. Because pinch hitters come with a pure license that okay, you have to just go and smash it. That's not his role. It's just that you have to make sure that the pressure isn't on the other end. I feel that might be the role here for him.
Fair.
Fair enough. I mean, as far as my picks are concerned, I'm going with the supposed umpire's call that, like Nikhil put it. I'm just hoping that there will actually be some movement in the first 10 overs, as conventional as they could come. Mitchell Stark, Trent Boult, picking both the left arm seamers, very safe picks. I'm hoping Mitchell Stark तो भाई अभी 23 मैच से वो तो 30 मैच से rather विकेट ले ही रहे वर्ल्ड कप्स में,
Yeah.
so it is of course a safe bet. I'm hoping both of them will be able to get more than just a couple of wickets, because like Nikhil mentioned, both of them are one of those rhythm bowlers. अगर new ball के साथ थोड़ा movement भी मिल जाता है, they can really sort of get on the roll. And Travis Head is also playing his first game, so it won't be easy for him as well to sort of play someone like a Trent Boult right up top in if it is relatively friendly bowling conditions. So yeah, let's hope that turns out to be the case. But yeah,
Yep.
time to wrap the preview of the first game up, and time to move on to the second game, which is of course Bangladesh versus New Zealand. Not New Zealand, Netherlands. Every time, New Zealand. Okay, Bangladesh versus Netherlands in Kolkata. This is the
Yes.
first game in Kolkata, of course, for this World Cup. And, in fact, the preview on cricket.com, guys, if you haven't read it, please check it out. Pramod has come up with as comprehensive a preview as possible. He did mention that every venue this World Cup has seen the first games register scores in excess of their past score. So expect no different, expect rather nothing different in this game as well. The past score there has been around 270 in the last 6 years. Expect a score in excess of 270 in the first innings. I mean, that wouldn't be a very unsafe bet, so to say. Nikhil bhai, you can start here. Kolkata, Bangladesh, Netherlands, both of them have fairly decent pace attacks, to say the least. Are you expecting a spicy contest there?
Yeah, they do, and I think this could potentially be a game of who bats better. It is something that we've discussed in the past with Bangladesh as well, that they have to bat better. because Netherlands will come prepared. So that's where they will definitely be challenged. So looking forward to that contest and runs बनने चाहिए वहाँ पे. So that should help the sides also feel better about it.
All right, both sides are coming from a severe drubbing in their previous games. Bangladesh at least have the experience of Mushfiqur, Shakib, to some extent even Mahmudullah, and of course Mustafizur. Netherlands, on the other hand, all out for 90, they conceded 400 runs. How hard do you think is it to come back from such a defeat, Gurkirat? Like, because of course they would fancy themselves in terms of being able to get those 2 points, but to be mentally prepared for this game, are you expecting Netherlands to be able to put up a positive performance today?
Yeah, I am, because I think they're not a team who will keep harping so much on what happened in the last game. They'll be cognizant enough and be aware of the fact that those matches could happen to even better teams. We saw that happen to Sri Lanka. We saw that happen to England of all teams. We saw that happen to Bangladesh. So it's something that can happen. It's not that big of a deal, and we have seen so far that they've really prepared well. So let's see. And again, it's a if it plays like a typical Kolkata pitch, then it will not have a lot of grip and turn. So that could really neutralize the spinners of Bangladesh. And I'm not sure if Shakib's back, because Shakib did flew back to Bangladesh for some. Uh, I think it was a personal physio or personal trainer for his injury concerns. That's why I'm not sure if Shakib's back. So that will be a factor. And yeah, if the pitch has some extra bounce, I'm looking at Van Meekeren to try the short stuff versus the Bangladesh batters and see how it comes along. But yeah, their batting's just been. I'm out of words. So I think the words like me and the words that me and Nikhil lack for Bangladesh. I think Somesh has pretty much summed it up in that one article of his. So yeah, it's just been it's been frustrating beyond a point that you just feel like, okay, if this is the route that they're going to take, if they are going to be short sighted in their cricket, then they might as well have a very bad World Cup, because that might just force their hand to change a few things. It's something that I have said for a couple of teams. I've said this for Delhi Capitals in the IPL, that when you are just caught up in the same cycle of mistakes, or the same cycle of looking for short term results, the best thing that can happen to you as a team is you hit rock bottom, because then it will force you to bring in systematic changes or do some changes that will allow you to get better. So, from that lens, if Bangladesh really have a bad World Cup, it could really change a few things for them systematically. Because, like how Nikhil said, I think it was in the last review show that we were doing, that they have just they need to take a call on what kind of and what brand of cricket do they want to play. Do they want to remain as bullies at Bangladesh, or do they want to become a holistic team that can compete at other places as well? That is the call that they need to take now.
Fair enough. And I was just thinking that if Gurkirat had a penny every time he was a loss for words, he could potentially buy Delhi Capitals next season. But yeah, unfortunately, won't be the case. But yeah,
वो अपने
talking
आप
about
को ऐसे दुख में नहीं डालना.
all right. Jokes apart, though, in terms of how Nikhil mentioned that Netherlands have been one of the most, or rather the more well prepared sides coming into each game. One stat that clearly reflects that is how good their fielding has been. Something we also spoke about in their previous game against Australia. Despite the kind of hitting they were seeing, despite all of that going around them, it didn't seem that their fielding took a hit because of that. If you look at it, the catch efficiency of 84, nearly 84% this World Cup is the highest for any team, which is so good to see, because more often than not, people tend to take associate nations lightly because of that tag of being an associate nation. Clearly, Netherlands have been very, very, again, control the controllables. We keep saying that they've actually been able to execute it. And isn't that very good to see, Nikhil Bhai?
No, bilkul. I mean, catching is something that is definitely far more controllable. And again, uh, sometimes you will have those odd catch drop, but you still see the way they've saved the runs in the outfield. You can feel that vibe. That's what you get with fielding. It pumps the side up. A bowler is also feels just far more safer and good. That it's okay. I heard, but the fielder just had my back. So that is something that really lifts the side up, not a quantifiable in metric ke ha definitely impacts, but it is clearly visible. And I mean, those who we've all played at some level, and we feel just doing that one stop makes you feel so bad, so better about yourself and the entire thing, that it lifts your spirits, and you're just able to build pressure. Something that I think Pakistan yesterday did not do with Samshi, that they had people in the deep wanting to save twos, but bhai, aap catch kahan pe pakdoge? So it is one thing wanting to create chances and one thing hoping to create chances. And fielding, that attitude also matters, that you are coming in, just being there in the eyes. And again, all these things may sound ki bhai kya cliche paka raha hai. But the thing is, when you see it happen, you can believe that yes, it makes an impact. Or misfield ke mat bhago, all of this they had worked in the past, but good ground fielding will put the pressure on the batter कि भाई do something else, because the fielders are not giving you a chance. तो वो जो रिस्क होता है कि इसको मार के भाग लो, वो नहीं होगा फिर.
100%. I mean, if I'm not wrong, Engelbrecht's catch of Maxwell and Ackerman's catch of Stark was one of the better catches I have seen in this World Cup. Engelbrecht's in particular, given again the kind of hitting form that Maxwell was in, more fielders would have, I mean, most fielders rather would have been under the pump trying to catch that at the deep. But yeah, fantastic take. But Gurkirat, you briefly spoke about Paul van Meekeren and how his short balls could potentially, trouble Bangladeshi batters. Let's talk about that and much more in the first segment for this game, which is key battles. Yeah, Gurkirat. Short balls, we know it has been a problem for them. Mushfiqur's been repeatedly targeted. Shakib's been repeatedly targeted. Shanto's also been repeatedly targeted. How are you seeing this play out? Because we know Kolkata is one of the flatter surfaces in India, going in India, and of course bounce and all of that would be to Netherlands' favor. And they have a couple of bowlers, not just Meekren, even Van Beek, even Bastelida. All of them are bowlers whose natural lengths come at the 4 meter and shorter lengths, so they can hit those lengths consistently if needed. Do you expect Bangladesh to face, if not a short ball, at least those back of length ball barrage today?
You would, but again, a lot depends upon how the pitch is, because at a couple of venues the pitch has been a surprise. So yeah, if the pitch at Eden turns out to be a slow one, then not. I am hoping it's not, but I'm just saying that if that turns out to be the case, uh, see, it's again, it will come across that I have been a broken record, but the key battles with respect to Bangladesh will always have to be how the openers start or the top three do, because so often they are just behind the game in the first power play or the first 15 overs itself. I mean, you look at the India game, they were able to get to a respectable kind of total. It was not par, but they were at least in a position to get to a total from where they could compete, was because the openers did well, because Litton started off well. uh, Tanzid also got a 50. So, and this is a pitch, traditionally or historically, this has been a pitch where that you can score runs and you will need to set up a good start. I don't expect their middle order to come on and blast away, because that has not been the case with them. Their strike rates in this tournament tell a story in themselves. So if they really need to set up a total, first is, I think, very important for them is that they get to bat first, because I don't think they are chasing anything. Because I feel on this pitch, if Netherlands are able to bat first, they could get to 270, 280, and from there on, they could really pose a challenge. Because Netherlands also bat deep. There were some 90 or I think they were six down for under 100 against Sri Lanka as well, and still managed to get to 262. And I believe Eden would be a better batting pitch than that. So yeah, those openers of the top three versus the pace attack, or maybe even the spinners of because Netherlands have been very flexible in terms of who they want to give the ball in the first end. We have seen Colin Ackerman come on, we have seen Aryan Dutt come on. So that would be the key battle, that how do the top three of Bangladesh fare against the Netherlands bowling in the first 10-15 overs, because that is the only thing that can put Bangladesh ahead in the game. Their paces are not working. a lot of things are just not working for them.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, the Netherlands lower order has repeat time and again bailed them out. 144 for 141 for 7-2, 242, 243 against South Africa, 91 for 6-2, 262 if I'm not wrong against Sri Lanka. But Nikhil Bhai, in terms of how we spoke about Bangladesh top order not really firing much for them. They've not had good enough starts. Tanzid Hassan, we've spoken again repeatedly, time and again about his numbers as well. It's not that the Dutch top order themselves have done well. In fact, Max stood out, Vikramjit Singh and Tanzid Hassan rank the bottommost when it comes to batting performances in this World Cup. So how what can Netherlands batters do? Because can they bring someone like a Wesley Beresine? That's in particular my question. He has the experience. Of course, he's not an opener. He is primarily a number 3, number 4 batter, but he has opened previously. In fact, he'd opened in the 2011 World Cup for Netherlands, which happened in India. Do you see something like a change like that coming in today?
See, I think with Maxwell out, they'll probably want to give him probably the full World Cup. Again, the best batter when he gets going. And today, Kolkata deck might just be the one that frees him up. Yes, there will be the threat of Shariful again if he bowls with a new ball. And Vikramjit has looked good in patches where even in that last game when he hit those boundaries to Stark, you felt, Kare bhai, this could really be something special. But it hasn't translated into something that big. So that's where they'll hope they can come good as a batting unit because, like Paji mentioned, it is one thing for the middle order to always save you, but you need your top order to come good. And today could be the day where both top orders could be tested in the same manner. And this is where I feel, today could just be the day, very early call, that Netherlands could do to Bangladesh what Bangladesh do to everybody. Have so much spin getting bowled at them right from the start to maybe to the finish. Okay, Netherlands should Netherlands can do that with Ackerman, with Aryan Dutt, with Rulf Mandamove, that Bangladesh should feel, okay, wow, this is what we do to people, and now this is being done to us, and that could really play out very very fun in a fun way because it's a very quick outfield in Eden Gardens. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि value नहीं है for shots, but if they get it right, so this could really be a very good contest to watch. I mean, one team emulating what the other has done, और थोड़ा भी अगर bounce मिल गया, Iron that has bowled well in every single game. So it could really be fun watching this game then.
All right, let's quickly move on to the final segment of the show, X Factor players, right now. We know that a lot of them have already moved on to the Australia-New Zealand game because we're already down 1 over. Matt Henry's gone for 2 boundaries. But again, let's quickly get our X Factors in. Gurkirat, you can start first. Who are your X Factors for the second game today?
Hard to look past Litton Das, given where the game is and how you expect the pitch to be. There's pace, there's bounce. He's their best batter, and he's had 2 good scores, but you really want him to carry on and get a big one. And if Shakib's not there, then even more important that Litton starts off well. So there's that. Uh, for uh, for Netherlands for Netherlands. Maybe Ackerman. Comes in both with the ball and with the bat. He should again enjoy the surface because when Netherlands played New Zealand in Hyderabad, the pitch had some bounce and he was able to time his shots well and play a good innings. And I expect the pitch to be similar in terms of pace and bounce. So yeah, maybe Ackerman could be that X factor for Netherlands. Would have really wanted to go for one of the openers in O'Dowd or Vikramjit, but I feel Vikramjit might just get stuck versus spin, and O'Dowd's not been in great form. So Ackerman, I'm going for Ackerman.
Fair enough. Nikhil Bhai, what about you?
Yeah, I'll stick with Shoriful. I think he's bowled very well in right through the tournament, and if he starts well, Kolkata is a venue where you could get value for both start and the end. So I think वहाँ पे and Bangladesh has been a side that has at times played in patches where they give a lot of wickets and then they bat well and then they give a lot of wickets. So hopefully Shariful is there when they are taking a lot of wickets. So Shariful I think is a key player there. For Netherlands, I was tempted to go with Ackerman, but I just feel sometimes he gets like with Vikramjit. I think spin is able to control Ackerman far better as compared to pace. So that's my only worry with Ackerman. I hope Bangladesh get their spin attack right to able to control Ackerman. But otherwise, I feel a good game for someone like Bazrid also to just have a day like he's had in the past where he has a 3 for and a good 50-60 to back it क्योंकि काफी दिन हो गए आया नहीं all rounder 200 points so maybe today is the day.
Interesting. Fingers crossed for that. As far as I'm concerned, for Bangladesh, I hope Shanto is finally amongst the runs. This could be the game where he gets back into some hitting form because he really needs it. Enter the
Just
World Cup in such good form.
just the Shanto insight that everybody knows now. 5 ducks in ODIs. All of them are first ball ducks. So all you have to pray is भाई पहला बॉल अच्छे से खेल. I mean पहला रन ले ले, पहला बॉल अच्छे से खेल ले. फिर he may be able to contribute better.
Exactly, that's the hope. So I genuinely hope he is amongst the runs today. And one change that they could potentially also look to do, I mean, not change exactly, tweak, is to probably promote Shakib to number 3 and get Shanto down to number 4 because that's
Shakib
where he
खेलेगा
scored
तो
his. Exactly. Shakib khelega too. I'm hoping he does because at least based on reports, he should be available today. He should be back in town. वैसे भी Bangladesh, Calcutta ज़्यादा दूर भी नहीं है. Since we've gotten that joke, out of the way. In terms of Netherlands, for me personally, Paul van Meekeren is someone I really like in general. I really want to go for him, but I'm going for Vikramjit Singh. I know you guys mentioned
Oh.
that he can get stuck against spin, but I'm expecting this to play like a typical Kolkata surface where the bounce would be true. He is someone who loves playing his drives on the up. The way he was playing Mitchell Starc, oh boy, that was very tempting. And I really hope he gets to play a few more of those shots. And also Bangladesh, in case Shakib also comes in, they've got a couple of slow left armers. I don't think they would also be able to make the kind of impact against someone like a Vikramjit as much as they would like. So yeah, that's why I'm going for him. Fingers crossed he can also do something of note today. But yeah, it's time to wrap up right now. I know it's been a slightly extended preview. We'll talk a lot more in the review, of course, because we'll be reviewing both the games. But right now, Australia are already off to a flyer. Let's stay. I mean, let's tune out of this preview. Let's get into the game ASAP. I know all of you guys must be wanting to go there. That's it from all of us right now. Thank you so much. Have a great game, or rather, have a great couple of games. See you guys tonight.